indeed. NACAM President, Ego Frigerio, and all NACAM Vice Presidents who are present here with us, NACAM CEO who addressed us this morning, Renai Moitila, AIDC Eastern Cape Board Chairperson, Phumzile Tumani, who also addressed us this morning, AIDC CEO, Thabo Shengani, NAMSA President Billy Tom, ITF CEO Jabulani Sulumani, all business leaders who are present here with us today, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you, Molweni. We are meeting here today in the month that we remember and honor the sacrifices that the women of South Africa have made over the past 70 years, materializing most significantly through the March of 1956, which changed the political landscape of apartheid South Africa. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to address the first P20 Women's Parliament of the 7th administration, an important event for Parliament, but also for the global women's movement in the year that South Africa chairs the G20 presidency. Women, youth, and other marginalized groups must not be left behind in the transformation process of this sector. And this must be a goal that NACAM is committed to in line with the country's overall transformation agenda. South Africa's presidency of the G20 is a significant moment for the continent and the global South. And through its theme, solidarity, equality, and sustainability, also seeks to contribute to the automotive sector by putting on the table relevant discussions that pertain to economic resilience and growth, sustainability and the green transition, and global governance reform, amongst other things. I specifically make mention of this because it is important that as a sector, you are also positioned to enhance the discussions at that level, considering that this is a global industry. Ladies and gentlemen, this session takes place at a time when South Africa's automotive and manufacturing industries are navigating tough times, just as our economy was starting to show signs of recovery. This extraordinary time necessitates collaboration between the government and the private sector to address the growing dependence on imports. We must ensure that we do address this seriously, particularly infrastructural inadequacies, the transition to electric vehicles, and the issue of the 30% tariff increase by the United States of America. I am pleased that the National Association of Automotive Components and Allied Manufacturers, NACAM, the foremost representative of South Africa's automotive component industry, has convened us at this opportune moment to delineate the path forward for our nation. To that extent, it is admirable that NACAM invests a lot of resources in improving localization, transformation, and supplier development landscape in South Africa. This comes with appreciation that the automotive industry holds significant potential for shared prosperity through targeted industrial development. This sector is a success story of industrial policy and contributes significantly to the GDP of our country and employment. The automotive sector in South Africa is one of the country's most strategically important and internationally linked industries, accounting for 22.6% of manufacturing output and 5.2% of our country's GDP. Of great significance is that in our fight to increase employment is the automotive sector, which employs approximately 115,000 people in total. The largest share of these employees, over 80% of them, work in the component sector. The industry is export-oriented, globally competitive, and plays a vital role in regional and national industrial development. In 2024, the component sector exported 62.5 billion rands of components. We must never allow the loss of these gains because of external or internal pressures. I say this with concern because the employment levels in the sector have been under strain due to ongoing economic pressures and reduced production volumes. I've also learned that over the past 2 years, NACAM has recorded 12 company closures, impacting over 4,000 individuals. What is of more concern are the recently released figures by Stats SA, showing that the country's unemployment rate has now climbed to 33.2% in the second quarter of this year, an increase from 32.9% in the previous quarter. This latest figure is a clear indication that the nation's unemployment crisis remains an urgent concern. We need to do more to combat unemployment, which might include improving education and skills to match labor market demands, promoting entrepreneurship and small business and small enterprises, and investing in public employment programs to generate jobs. The government is committed to working with various sectors to create employment and improve the living conditions of our people. The government supports the automotive industry through a combination of investment incentives, improved policy frameworks, and infrastructure development. Key initiatives include the Automotive Investment Scheme, AIS, which offers non-taxable cash grants to encourage investments in new models and components. Additionally, the government supports local productions through tariffs and incentives, aiming to boost employment and strengthen the automotive value chain. The Automotive Industry Development Center, AIDC, also plays a crucial role in skills development, enterprise development, and managing incentive programs. This sector is also guided by the South African Automotive Master Plan 2035, which aims to build a globally competitive and transformed industry. The Automotive Master Plan 2035 goals include growing vehicle productions to 1% of global output. That's about 1.4 million vehicles. Increasing local content to 60%, doubling employment to 224,000 employees, and deepening transformation and value addition with 25% black-owned involvement at the Tier 2 and Tier 3 component manufacturing level. The Automotive Production Development Program Phase 2 is a policy program intended to support and enable the realization of the objectives of the master plan. As the government, we recognize the industry's significant role and see it as a backbone of our economic growth, promoting industrial development and encouraging innovation. I am of the view that by increasing investment in research and development, we can use the power of technology to improve efficiency and sustainability, ensuring that our products and services stay competitive in the global market. Moreover, by nurturing a culture of collaboration and partnership amongst manufacturers, suppliers, and stakeholders, we can unlock new opportunities for growth and prosperity. This sector, not just in South Africa, but in Africa as a whole, has emerged as a critical area of investment, providing substantial prospects for growth and development. In this context, Program Director, we must not overlook the significance of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, particularly on economic integration and industrialization, which is projected to draw additional international investments into the African automotive industry. Moreover, the free trade agreement has the potential to significantly boost the automotive industry across the continent by reducing trade barriers, fostering regional value chains, and harmonizing regulations. This could lead to increased production, lower costs for consumers, but also ensure a more competitive market. The implementation of this agreement has the potential to lessen African countries' dependency on developed countries for automotive components and completed vehicles by promoting regional value chains and increasing local production. Creating a single continental market for goods and services could potentially lead to increased trade, investment, and job creation in the African continent. However, this does not suggest that we do not need other nations as our trading partners. We believe in diversifying our investments and engaging in trade with several partners. It is for this reason that the Cabinet has adopted a new trade proposal to the United States that aims not just to settle the 30% tariff, but also has ramification for over 130 other trading partners who may reroute their products into the South African market. As Cabinet, we are committed to protecting the economic interests of our country and are forging ahead towards strengthening our economy, therefore dealing with the triple challenge of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, I must highlight that there will be repercussions felt throughout the entire value chain if we do not reach an amicable trade agreement with the White House. It is probable that South Africa or South African suppliers who provide support to domestic original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, that export automobiles or integrated systems to the United States would experience volumes of cutbacks. This will put pressure on production planning, employment decisions, and of course, investment choices. South African automobiles and components would see a direct rise in landed costs in the US market. And because of this, they would be unable to compete with goods from other nations that have continued preferential or zero duty access, such as those in the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement. Overall, the imposed tariff threatened to disrupt well-established trade flows and weaken the global competitiveness of South Africa's automotive manufacturers' ecosystem. However, South Africa remains resilient and steadfast in its effort to grow and protect our economy. We will continue to engage with the United States to identify practical solutions. The President will be sending once again a delegation to the White House to engage with the US administration on this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, despite challenging global and domestic economic circumstances, the automotive component sector continues to reaffirm its commitment to South Africa, attracting significant investments, driving innovation, thereby strengthening South Africa's manufacturing capabilities and global competitiveness. The recent investments in the Eastern Cape by Shutterproof, a part of PG Group, and Ibo Automotive Systems demonstrates that the South African market is resilient and capable of overcoming this setback. Ibo Automotive Systems is a locally owned Tier 1 producer of plastic injection molded components and assemblies with facilities in Nelson Mandela Bay and East London. Ibo is a triple BEE Level 4 company with an employee share ownership program, ESOP, benefiting over 200 employees. Compatriots, some of the future opportunities in this sector that we must take advantage of are localization and transformation. On localization, we can increase localization with existing and potential new original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, with their entrance to the markets and achieving possibly 5% growth in localization rate in South Africa, potentially resulting in 30 billion rands in new local procurement. Moreover, research has indicated that South Africa is well positioned to localize high-value new energy vehicles components, including fuel cells, thermal management systems, e-axle, and high-voltage battery mineral beneficiations and assembly. Regarding transformation, we can intensify the sector's potential to create at least 130 new black industrialists in components manufacturing as part of the Automotive Master Plan 2035 goals. 2035 goals. We should integrate SMMEs into this sector, as Minister Ndabeni has emphasized this morning. And I want to assure you, Minister, we will not leave the SMME sector behind. I'm sure you are happy. At the heart of our vision for the automotive industry is a commitment to shared prosperity. We believe that sustainable development must benefit all members of our society, empowering individuals and communities to thrive and succeed. Our country boasts rich history of automotive innovation and a skilled workforce that is capable of competing at the global scale. As we look towards the future, we must capitalize on this potential to drive economic growth and create opportunities for all South Africans. Through creating inclusive business models and fostering a supportive environment for entrepreneurship, we can ensure that the benefits of industrial growth are shared equitably amongst all South Africans. As I conclude, Program Director, I want to say, as we navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, let us remember that our strength lies in our unity and collective vision for a brighter future. Together, we can build a future where prosperity is shared by all, leaving behind a legacy of growth and opportunities for generations to come. Let me end by wishing all our mothers and sisters a happy Women's Month that we are celebrating. And I want to say, what Indaba fazi. Malibongwe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, you mustn't leave. If I can ask you to remain on stage, please, as I invite now Renee, CEO of NARCAM, up to do an official vote of thanks. So thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the Deputy President of South Africa, a warm round of applause, please. Thank you very much, and now take your seats. Like I said, the government input this morning has been strong, and it certainly is integral, right, to informing how other players that sit within this entire ecosystem position themselves strategically in order to grow this sector. Once again, a very big thank you to the Deputy President of South Africa, Premier, Ministers, MPs, Mayor as well.